Hey there, welcome to Red Finch Rental. Today I'm going to be talking about the 4 P's of business. Now this applies to all businesses, not just the film business, but it really is very applicable here. And it's really, particularly, it's interesting. I think a thing that happens a lot in film discussions is people will say that this is the way it is and there's no other way, but the truth is it's just that way in their area of film. Like there's so many different areas of film and photography, and they all really work differently. They have different types of clients, they have different types of products, they have different types of prices, and they have different types of distribution. Like they're completely different. But people will get siloed in their career and think, well, the way you do industrial videos for mining companies in northern Nevada is the only way video gets done. Or the way you do movies for Paramount is the only way it's done. But it's not. Film is a big, big field. Again, lots of different products, lots of different prices, lots of different ways to market that product in a lot of different places. So anyway, back to the 4 P's. First P is product. The second P is price. The third P is promotion, and which is marketing. And the fourth is place. So just to give, so like, let's say you do industrial movies. So your price would be like, well, my day rate is like, I don't know, $800 a day, $1,000 a day, $2,000 a day, depending on what type of clients you're working with and where you are in your career. But, so like if you're doing major industrial videos for Rio Tinto, then, your day rate's going to be quite a bit, probably around $5,000 a day. But if you're doing, some very small mining company, just, Rio Tinto is like the biggest mining company in the world, is based in Spain. I'm just using that as an example of films. So your product will be, well, we're doing a really great video about this mine that just makes it look like $1 million and talks about how they're compliant with all EPA regulations and how they really help the community. And we're doing all this stuff to help promote the mine to the people of the community and show what an important part of the society it is. Then so that would be your product. So $5,000 a day is your day rate. Then you add in your expenses and everything. That's when you do a bid. So your price may come to like $20,000 in total or $30,000 in total. And then your product is, we're doing a consumer-facing video to improve client relations with the surrounding community around this mine. And then your promotion would be, so the thing is difficult because a lot of videos are done for marketing, but marketers need to market. You don't get a job unless you market. So your promotion will be, we have a guy named Jim who is our sales rep, and maybe Jim is you, and he's friends with the head of PR at Rio. He knows and is friends and has developed a relationship with the head of PR at Rio Tinto. So Rio Tinto, when they need a video in our region, calls us, or in other regions, calls us to go to that mine. And so that your promotion is Jim, your business-to-business sales rep. And that Jim could be you, or Jan could be you. And so that's a very, very important thing to remember. Like, you've got to have somebody. I can tell you, if you want to make a living, a good living doing film, you're going to be doing videos for other businesses, because they have all the money, quite frankly. So businesses have the money. They can pay $30,000 for a video. They're the people you're going to be working for. And then your distribution will be, well, they're going to distribute it on local TV channels, on their webpage, and on a Facebook outreach ad. So that's their place of distribution. They're going to handle all the distribution for you. But your distribution as a filmmaker is, we give the video to Rio Tinto to distribute. So we're just producing it. But that still is, we distribute videos to businesses to distribute to their clients. So that is still, that's a business to business model. So let's do it again, with a wedding videographer. So wedding videographer, your price is going to be, I don't know, around $2,000 to $5,000 per wedding. Which sounds, there's a lot of before and after work. Anybody has ever done a wedding video. And I do recommend you find a way to quickly edit things, because I do think with wedding videos, that's what kills a lot of people, is that they spend way too much time on post to make it worthwhile. So your product is the wedding video. Your price is $2,000 for a 10-minute video or a 5-minute video. I don't know what it is. And then your promotion is, and this is the best marketing I've ever seen for weddings, is, I mean, there's wedding fairs, which I don't think are worth very much, and there's wedding books, and there's wedding conglomerate web page. I mean, you need to have a good personal web page, but I don't know those wedding websites that charge you a lot to get on. I don't know how many people get work off that. Really, in wedding, as far as promotion goes, you getting work, you live and die off of word of mouth. And so the best way to gain word of mouth, I found, is wedding photographers or wedding videographers adding their people they shoot their wedding to their Christmas card list. And that could get quite lengthy, but it keeps them in their wedding photographer, in their memory, and then they recommend you. Like, oh yeah, she was so great, he was so great at our wedding, just so nice. And the thing I really recommend, as far as like the product of wedding, people forget that, like, when you're a wedding photographer, you're way more than just like the product is a bunch of photos they keep afterward. That matters, and you don't want to screw that up. But you're also kind of the main entertainment. You're the master of ceremonies, because you're the person guiding people around. You're make sure Aunt and Jim is in the right picture. Aunt Jim is in the right photo, and so on. So you might want to make the wedding fun. So if you could like just get a joke book, like read some jokes, like wedding jokes maybe, or something that you can talk to and be kind of center of entertainment during these kind of boring times of busting out group portraits with various people. That would help you a lot. They'd remember you, and they'd be like, wow, the whole family would be like, wow, they were so good. They may never even actually see your photos, but they'll know, wow, they were so good. They were so much fun, and they made the wedding so much more interesting. So I think that's a very valuable thing to remember, that you, more than the product of the photos you're making the product of good memories during their wedding. So you want to be like a fun, entertaining person. You want to be well dressed. You want to, be a good addition to the wedding party. So anyway, so your promotion is putting people on your Christmas card list, and your distribution is your place, your region where you'll photograph a wedding, where it's still profitable. If you're charging enough, and your life situation is such, you could travel to destination weddings, which increases your market a lot. But a lot of people, they'll be like, well, I'm in the greater Chicago area, within 2-hour drive or 3-hour drive of the Chicago area. That's where my wedding market is. And so that's your distribution. Coincidentally, the same thing applies to industrial videos or commercial videos, but generally they're paying enough that you will travel. So like for a $30,000 job, you will travel to wherever to shoot it, is pretty much a given. To even like, to shoot if they want a $70,000 video, you'll travel to Indonesia to shoot that video. So it's kind of just an expectation that your place is the world, which kind of sounds cool, but when you do it for a while, it kind of sounds not cool. So anyway, so the last I'm going to talk about, because this is the thing, of course, everybody comes out of film school wanting to do, is product promotion, price, and place for like a feature film or a TV show. But really, if you look at the end of credits, you'll see 3 or 4 different companies. And the Paramount, Universal, Disney, those ones you hear about, they are distribution companies and distribution and marketing companies. And they hire production companies, smaller companies beneath that, to produce the movie. And there may even be a couple other companies below that. So that's where you get like your Bad Robot and, Amblin, which is like Steven Spielberg's one and stuff. But even beyond that, it's kind of more complicated. But really, the thing about producing those movies, those high-level movies, is that you need the money because they're expensive, and nobody really has the money up front. So, right, the independent film route is you aggregate a bunch of investors who are totally okay with losing all their money because they're almost guaranteed to lose all their money, and and you don't want your uncle never to speak to you again after you lose his money, so But that's complicated. But really what you're doing is you're pitching a product, which is, you got an actor on board, you got a great script, you got a great idea, you got a great director on board, and you're pitching it to a production company, you're pitching to a distribution company for advanced financing to finance this film. That's what you're doing. That's like how Star Trek is made. That's how everything was made. And if you look at, there's a really good book on this. It's about the making of the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm blanking on the title of the movie. I'm going to look it up right now. Hey, Adam,
yeah.
Could you look up Lord of the Rings making of book for me?
Making of book?
Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, Lord of the Rings making of book is really good, and it goes through this whole process, and it's interesting because the director of Lord of the Rings, he had a lot of stuff under his belt, a lot of really good projects underneath his belt before he did. Before he made Lord of the Rings, but it's interesting how hard it was for him. So actually there's a book called Making of the Movie Trilogy, Lord of the Rings, but there's a better one that's more in depth. I guess I will just include it in the title. Let's see here. Making of Lord of the Rings movie. It's called Anything You Can Imagine, Peter Jackson and the Making of Middle Earth. Anyway, excellent book on that, and you kind of see all the processes going through. But the weird thing about making movies, especially big budget movies, is it's kind of like holding court. Like, it's so complicated and so much money, and there's really no one-way path, and there really is kind of like a lot of kind of family relationships, and people kind of I guess Nepo baby's the derogatory term for it, but that really goes on, because if your dad had a whole lot of connections, it's going to be easier for you to navigate that system, because it just takes so many people and it's so much money. So, but Peter Jackson, of course, the other way is you're just an insanely good talent like Peter Jackson or George Lucas, and you don't have those connections and you make your way. But that's a different thing. So anyway, back to product, price, and promotion. So your product is your product is the collection, the script, the director, and the actors you have involved in it. That's your product. You're promoting it by doing individual sales with various distribution and financing companies, and your place is probably the Los Angeles region. There's also film incentive ways, of course, in Europe, but those are more sparse than you think. And of course, independent film ways kind of in other areas. But really, the sun, when it comes to these sort of things, is Los Angeles area. And it will take years for one of those packages to kind of become a movie. So, and it takes a lot of sales, especially if you don't have a Tom Cruise involved in your project or something like that. So anyway, so a lot of individual sales. But anyway, back to it. So just say it yourself and think of you can think of your own little world of where you are in film with product, price, promotion in place. So think, what is my product? What is that I make? What is the price for that product? How do I promote that product so people will buy it from me? And where do I distribute that product? Where is my influence where I make that product? So anyway, that's it. This is very rough overview. You can get into the weeds on this, but I think it's very valuable to think of those things just so you don't forget a part. Often people forget to promote, to be able to how to promote their product and what their distribution is for their product. Those are the things people almost always forget. But price and your product people most often remember. But really, it's important to think like, what is actually my product? Not what I think it is or what I dream it is. You know, you may think your product is, well, I do feature-length films, but what do you what do you do to make a living, you know? And Christopher Nolan made industrial videos or you know, wedding video. He made industrial videos. I remember him saying that in an interview. And, you know, there's no shame in it. It's a good living, and, you know, I think it's great. Way to go. But, you know, because, again, like, to make a big project with all those elements connected, that takes millions of dollars. It's going to take years for you to finance it. So, anyway, product, price, promotion, place. Remember all four. Make sure you're aware of all four things in your business, and get cracking. Good luck. We'll see you later. Redfinch Rental.